Go. So I'm going to get us on Facebook Live here in a second. I have to really test this out to see, can I go on Facebook Live before we oh, I guess I couldn't. No, that wouldn't work. Page. There we go. We're on live. I think maybe possibly Sarah will tell us for certain. There's people coming in, Ed. So we are good to go. Good morning, everyone, or maybe good afternoon. Good afternoon, right, to you, Ed? It is noon.
Good afternoon here, officially.
Afternoon. So
and
good
morning to the rest.
Yeah, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are I guess in the world. We are live. Okay, Sarah is saying we are live on Facebook. Awesome, thanks, Sarah. Welcome to the Wise Agent webinar series. My name is Eleni Summershields. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. And today I am joined by our good friend, Ed Brittingham, who is in right outside of Detroit, Michigan. What city are you in?
I'm in Sterling Heights.
Sterling Heights,
Detroit
Michigan.
metro area.
The metro area.
Michigan.
Okay. Awesome. So Midwest, like myself, that's where I grew up, is in the Midwest in Chicago, just a couple hours away from Detroit. So we're going to be talking about templates and properties and checklists and just Ed's story. I think it's a fabulous story. So I'm excited to share his story and him with all of you out there today. And a couple of housekeeping tips for everyone while I'm talking and telling you guys all what we're doing today. If you wouldn't mind posting in the chat what city, state, and brokerage you're with. I love seeing where everyone is coming from. Do you like seeing that, Ed?
I do. The diversification and the diverse areas on all these webinars are always fascinate me.
Yeah, I think it's great knowing where people are from. Amelia Islands. I think I'm going to Amelia Islands later this year, so I'm excited. It sounds beautiful there. And Delaware. So I love seeing where everyone is from.
We have some East Coasters.
Yes. And so Savannah, I was in Savannah last summer. Awesome. So while you guys are typing in where you're all from, we are recording this session. There's a chat and a Q&A on the bottom of your screen. If you want to click on that Q&A section over there, that's where you can type in any questions that you have while Ed and I are talking about Wise Agent and how Ed is using this in his business. We're happy to be looking through that. You could also type it in the chat. Either way is fine. We have our fabulous moderator, Sarah Webb, our marketing manager, that is on as well, that will be helping answer some of the questions, and we'll be posting links to blogs and articles and videos along the way for your information. So this is being recorded, and at the end of this webinar, you will be able to get the recording of this and watch it at your leisure. And if you are watching this on the replay, either on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and post any comments or questions that you have. We'll be monitoring that as well. Hey, Tamara, there's one of my friends, Tamara, from Alexandria, Virginia. So we'll be moderating those as well after the live presentation here. So, all right, Ed, you kind of saw the behind the scenes, and now you know I talk a lot, and so I'm going to give you the floor a lot more today, so we could hear from you, because when we talked about this, getting you on the webinar, you shared how you started in the business, and I think that's going to be that's a story that I want you to retell to everyone, because I think it's such a great story. And so I'd love for you to share just a little bit about how you came into the real estate industry and how you found Wise Agents, and how you've worked in your business for the duration of your business.
Well, thank you. It's going to be I started in real estate kind of different than others. I mean, before I came, to be upfront, I've been licensed. This is my second year. So before this, I had my own business with my wife. We ran a couple of dry cleaners. We were just approached with a great offer we couldn't walk away from in 2018. And due to the pandemic, I'm happy we made that choice. But before that, I was a licensed private detective working insurance claims investigations. So with that being detail oriented, that's just how I am. That's just how I'm constructed. And when I was researching what I needed to learn and what I needed to know when I got my license, I came across Wise Agent, and I checked them with other CRMs, what the pros and cons of all are, and here I am. So you can see who the clear winner was. And I am so glad that I chose Wise Agent, because it gives you the ability to track your time, manage your time, and keep track of everything that you need to do as a real estate agent. It's a no-brainer for me. So when I delved into a little bit more of what Wise Agent has to offer, I found checklists extremely helpful, because as you all know, when you go through a transaction, whether the buy side or the sell side, there's a lot of things that can be overlooked. If you have a checklist and you tailor it to your own needs, which you're able to do with Wise Agent, you won't miss anything. And you can do follow-up after the sale. It just makes your life as a realtor so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you shared that. I mean, so you've been in the real estate industry for 2 years. So you've been a realtor for 2 years now. Started
Correct.
off, so this is your second year. 2022 is your second year. So
is.
last year was your first year, and I already had asked for his permission. So before everyone starts like, why are you asking him on this forum? Before he gave me permission to ask this question. Could you share with everyone last year? So when you started off as an agent, and you were going into an office, right? And so
Yes.
you were going into an office, and were there people there around you to help coach, mentor you, and all that?
So I got my license in November of 2019. So that's the very beginning of the pandemic. So I came into the office because for me, going to an office environment and an office setting allows me to focus. So I focus better in an office setting. But because of the pandemic, there wasn't a whole lot of people here. So I had to do a lot of self-study and a lot of learning kind of on my own with little guidance, because there really wasn't anybody here.
Yeah.
Which for my personality and my study type, that worked for me.
Yeah. And so, so last year, your first year in real estate, you did how many transactions?
Last year I did 9.
9 transactions.
So the average realtor usually does 3 a year. I did 9 last year.
Yeah.
And again, that was my first year.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm in my second year, and we're in February. I'm already at 4. I closed one last month, and I've got 3 that are closing next week, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're on the roll, really on roll to double, if not triple, your business from last year.
That is my goal, and it's my goal that I've set in Wise Agent as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
That's an amazing thing to do. And so I know one of the things as like a new agent, you're right. You know what you said, you've got, you know, what, 250 tasks, sometimes at minimum, of things that you need to do when you are, you know, when you have a new client. There's things that you have to do, right? There's certain steps that you have to take. So maybe can you explain to us, do you have a checklist for just going through the transaction when somebody puts in an offer, or do you have checklists for pretty much everything?
I've created a checklist for the buy side and another checklist for the listing side.
Okay.
So as I've gone through gathering information from other sources, I kind of tailored it to my own needs. So from start to finish, from the buyer consult meeting all the way to getting them the home of their dreams, is a checklist. It's a system.
Yeah.
So you follow the system, and that's what a checklist is. It just keeps you focused and on track so you don't miss anything. If you do, go back and add that task to the next one so you won't do it again.
Yeah, so you don't forget it, absolutely. So for everyone that's wondering about our checklist, I'm gonna share my screen, because I think that's, it's always nice to be able to see how things work in a system. And so I wanted to share, this is the checklist template. So your first starting off point, your jumping off point is to create a template. And we have some default templates that you can, base yours off of, or you can just create a brand new template from scratch. And so, and what we have here in this demo account, we have a seller for like a residential one. We have a listing presentation. We have one for a commercial listing, and then the buy side as well. What in my opinion on some things, and Ed, you tell me what your thoughts are on this. I know I've had conversations with people just in the last few days on this, is you could really create templates for every part of the real estate process. So like how your prospecting works, you can create a template saying, hey, when I'm going through and prospecting, right, when I'm trying to capture more clients, right, or buy leads, right? I hate saying buy leads. I'm trying not to say that this year. I'm trying to say potential clients, right? So when you're prospecting, you could even have a checklist on how that would work and what steps you need to take. So you can go into your templates, into your template that you create for anything, and just add your tasks and have headings and whatnot. So basically it's a checklist that you can reuse over and over and over again based on this template. Is what the concept of our checklists and our templates are based on. So you would have your important dates, which everything would be based off of. In real estate, there's certain things that have to happen at certain points, right? So Ed, you'd be better to speak of this than I. When you go through a process, there is like that, like you said, you have 3 closings next week. You have a definite date that things start on and things where they have to be completed by.
Exactly. And the beauty of the way the checklists integrate with your calendar, any important dates are automatically populated to your calendar, so you won't miss them. As long as you're using your CRM every day, you can see that, oh, I've got this today, I've got this tomorrow. It helps you manage your time in that regard, and you won't miss something important. So it's so hard to explain, but it's so easy to do. So what I did is I took the buyer template that Wise Agent has, and I just added to it, and I deleted from something that I don't use. It doesn't apply to me because of where I'm at. So you can add, you can make it general, or you can make it very specific. Depends on how you want to use it. But make it so it's something that you will use and you will follow, and then you'll see that it gets easier as you use it.
Right, absolutely. So here in Arizona, we have, we're a title company state where I'm from Chicago, where there you don't deal with the title company, you have an attorney, a real estate attorney, and they do all the title stuff kind of behind the scenes, not consumer facing so much as it is here in Arizona. And so, maybe there's something in here where there is, get title information to everybody and whatever. Maybe that's not something that you need in your state. You could absolutely delete that from the templates that we've created and put whatever it is that is needed for you. So you can definitely change things around. One thing I will say is, for once you create the checklist templates, and then you start creating checklists off of that. So you can see this 31 actually means the number of checklists that are attached to this buyer demo template. So that's the number. And so once you have anything in here, more than one, once you have at least one created in here, you really shouldn't be deleting or you cannot delete tasks that are associated with checklists that have already been created. So what you could do, if let's say, I don't want to have a pool disclosure on my checklist, I could just make this hidden and, not visible. And then that task won't be something that's on that checklist every single time I go to do it. it won't be something on there. Which is, and I can say that, don't make this also available on the task list. So I can make those hidden. So anything in the past will still have that pool disclosure information there if it was needed for some reason, but anything in the future, that won't be something that I will be seeing. The other beauty is that I can just create a copy of this. So I can duplicate this and say, oh, I just want to make a copy of this. And then before I, and then I can just change this to buyers with a pool and then make one buyers without a pool. So then I can make, I can have that distinction and have two separate templates and build the checklist off of that. So that's a good, little tip to have for everyone. So when you are making these checklists and these templates, you're able to, kind of make things more customized and more suited for yourself. But, and then the other thing, one of my favorite things is when you're able to share these to your outside team members, right? And so this is something that I love this feature. Because it's something that, well, if someone else did the work and they want to share it with me, that's fantastic. I always love getting shared work from somebody, right? A little bit less effort for me to put into it.
I was a beneficiary of that also at one of the very beginning webinars that I attended. Tamara was kind enough to share her template and her checklist with me, and I just expounded on those.
Yeah.
So I'm also willing to share the ones that I've developed with anyone that's interested. If I can help somebody, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that's wonderful, Ed. That's wonderful to hear. And I know we're always so appreciative of Tamara. She did share in the first webinar that she was on with me last year. She had shared her templates and said, hey, just connect with me and I'll share it to you, become outside team members. And what's nice about that is that you're collaborating now with someone. You're in Michigan, she's in Virginia, and you guys are collaborating on making one another's business better. And helping one another out, which, I mean, isn't that the whole point of life sometimes, is, just helping somebody out is a fabulous thing. So so there you've got a couple of people that are already requesting. So if you guys
I could
are
see
wanting,
that. I'm happy to do that. Like I said, I benefited from Tamara and I'm passing it on. Happy to help anybody at any time.
Awesome. And we'll and Ed, if you want to share your contact information in here, and then but that's awesome. I see Harrison has also shared his contact information. So if you guys, all you have to do is share emails to one another. I'm going to show you really quickly what you have to do is from your Wise Agent account, you go to the gear and click on outside team. And from here, you would just add a team member, and yours might be blank. This is obviously a demo account, so we've got a few people in here. You just press this little plus button here and enter in the email address. So enter in Ed's email address here, and you can type him a message and click on send. And once he gets off this recording, he can go in there and accept all of your team requests. And then it's just as simple as him, once he accepts your request, then he's able to share those to everybody with a click of a button. And now if you're going to be one of the fortunate recipients of that, you'll get this little bell that has, that's right here, these notifications, and you'll be able to see, you'll have, a new sent checklist template, and you'll be able to accept that. So you'll be able to see that here in your account. You'll be able to accept it, and then it will be listed under your templates. And so Sarah did just post Ed's email address for you guys to go ahead and send those requests off as well. So, and then it would just be right here in your templates, and you'll be able to create a checklist off of that. All right. Thanks so much for doing that, Ed. I didn't know you were going to do that.
I benefited from someone helping me when I first started. Tamara, huge kudos to you. Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm, just happy to help anyone else, because Wise Agent has so much to offer. But if you don't attend the webinars, you don't delve into all the aspects that it has, you just might miss it and you might overlook it. So I don't want that to happen, because I want to make it easier for everybody and use Wise Agent to do that.
Well, I have to say this, Ed, because when we talked yesterday, you had mentioned to me that you've been on the webinar here on our webinar series, pretty much at every single one of them. And I always look for your name because it's always, even though we've never met in person, and really had not spoken before, but it was just like, I could count on Ed, and even if
I
only
try to
if Ed
attend
shows
most of
up,
them.
and even if only Ed shows up, like that made me happy because I knew I was speaking to you, and you were doing what we were saying, and you've been successful in it. So I appreciate that, and and I love hearing that story from you where you were just going off of what we've been saying, segmenting your audience, creating your checklist, creating your processes, your systems, and putting that into place.
Develop a system and then implement it and then follow it. If you work the system does work. You just got to make the system tailored to your specific needs. And you can do that pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've been in this industry, I mean, just for a very short time. And before this, you weren't in really sales, you were more in service. You were just providing a service, right?
I've been in service field forever. So that's why I say I have a different perspective, because I look at helping people and I'm helping them get into their home that they want and get out of the home that they don't want. So it's just another aspect of service. So I approach everything in the service perspective, not a sale. I'm here to help people genuinely.
Yeah.
And I'm having such a great time doing it. So
Yeah.
even here, if I can help other people, other wise agents, it's a no-brainer. Of course, I'm going to help you because I want you to be successful too.
Well, that's what I love about this industry, is that it is a servant type style and type of industry where you are providing a service. I mean, yes, you sell homes, that's the product that you sell, but really it's about providing that service where you are the advisor, you are the expert in what you do in your field, and
The advocate.
Yeah, the advocate. I love that. And tell, kind of give people the your professional opinion, your professional advice on what kind of where to price their house and what to do and whatnot. And that's very well said, what you said just now. I mean, that and then paying it forward from Tamara to you and on to the next person. So that's a fantastic, it warms my heart because it really does make me happy to see that happening in our industry.
It should happen more often, in my opinion. It's not an us them, it's a us.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, either on different sides of a transaction. We're all in this together.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I wanted to also show off, because when we were talking yesterday, I had asked you about, because we were talking about what some of the features that you use in Wise Agent. One of the features that you use is our property flyers.
Yes.
And so one of my questions to you was, I said, okay, so what were you using? Did you use anything before this? I know there are some other tools out there that can be kind of complicated and complex. And you said, no, I just used these flyers because we have a bunch of
They're
templates.
Available.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to pay for another service for it too. So it becomes cost effective.
Also with the checklists, when you go to the property list, if you add that property in the property list and you add your photos, like when you're uploading it to the MLS, you're adding the information to the property list. When you're done at the bottom, you can attach that property to a checklist. So they're linked together. So you can create property flyers for a coming soon, an open house, anything. You can customize all those. And Sarah was kind enough to share with me that you can also change the labels on that, like beautiful home or open house. You can change it. So you can make it your own and make it what will work for you at that given time.
Yes.
And they're always there. Unlimited storage on Wise Agent. You have them forever.
Yes. And so one of the things is you can have from your property list here, you can do several different things like you said. So one, you can assign it to a team member and do some of these other things here. And we're going to go through that top section here in a minute because we have some new things there. But you could have what you said, the photos, and you can create like a slideshow. So you could even view the slideshow. You could add this or use the embed link to put that in somewhere, or you could have a direct link to the slideshow and put this in, you know, in a text message or whatnot. But then you can also have contacts in here. You can attach a contact to this property to see maybe this was the previous owner, maybe this person is interested, or, you know, or whatever it was, whatever the case may be. Maybe there was a tenant in there and you want to have multiple connections and relationships in there. You could have that in here as well. This is what I love about Wise Agent, is that the central hub of everything is the contacts, but then there's also this side section here where it's also the properties, because then you have also that connection to the checklist and the flyers as well. So you can have everything really connected, from the contact to the property to the checklist to the flyers to everything. It comes full circle, so you can see one, you know, big view of everything.
For each property, you can add all the vendors, you can add your photographer, you can add your home inspector, you can add your title, you can add the lender. So when a year from now, when you're going back and you're looking what you did over the year before, you can say, okay, this photographer did an outstanding job. He actually helped me with X number of properties. So I'm gonna use him more because he's doing a great job. And also, when you upload the pictures into the property list, you can create a slideshow, and that slideshow link you can add to the MLS for when you input it. At least on my MLS, you can put a slideshow in there and it will automatically populate to the listing.
Yes, and that's something, you know, definitely you can add that because it does have a link to it. You can add this, like I said, to an email, to a text message, or anything that you want. Now, one of our newest features that was just released the other day is this Signwriter feature. So you all know what the Signwriter is. You have, you know, just listed or for sale sign in front of somebody's house, and then you can have a writer added to it where it would say text whatever, and this is specific, this 9917 is specific to this property. Text 9917 to this phone number. And if you guys want to do that, I'll give you guys all a minute here to get your cell phones out and text 9917 to 462-5477. I hope that's okay. I didn't ask Sarah if that's okay. Sarah, tell me if that's okay. I'm having everyone do that.
Too late now.
Sarah's like, oh no, what'd you do to me? But yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, and what happens is you'll get a link to, you'll get a text message back, right? So whoever is doing this, so the potential buyer is getting something back, and it's going to have your description in here. It'll have the slideshow, it'll have several pictures of the property in there as well. Sarah said, give it a shot. And then she did the woozy face though. That always makes me nervous when Sarah does the woozy face. We'll do it. It's a live demo. Actually do the pictures are better. Okay, she's telling me to do a different property. Okay, so she says the pictures are better from a different property. But what's nice, I don't have that property, Sarah. Oh, I do. So what happens is then that potential person will get those, the pictures, the description of that property back. And then they also, if they're not in your Wise Agent account, they become a lead or a potential client, right? We're not using that L word. And you could even set up a rule. I'm going to go to a different lead rule. And I know I didn't show the Signwriter on this new property. So let me go, where was that? Here it is. So for this Signwriter, it's 0093 to that same phone number. And what you could do is you'll get all of these pictures, you'll get the description, and then anyone that, if I have it set up in here as a rule, then that rule will be, where am I? Your new context will be added with property text 0093 as your source. Okay, so then you can set up a rule to automatically text back saying, hey, is this a good time to show it? Or thanks for your inquiry. I have an open house scheduled on Saturday at 9 a.m. If you want to come in sooner, let me know, or whatever it is. Okay, so I don't think we have the rules set up for any responses on this one here, but you can see what is happening with the Signwriter and how that the images are going coming into your cell phone. Okay, so so that's just something that you can do with that as well, which is a new feature that we created. And Sarah, you're totally right. These pictures are a lot nicer. Okay. So that's how the checklist, the properties, the flyers, and now this Signwriter all work together. You probably already also see this new created digital ad. That is something that's coming soon. We are in beta testing on that, so that will be coming soon. But basically what happens with this is that you'll be able to create a either Facebook or Google ad that will be marketing this particular property. Okay. And I see someone said, oh, she got the text. So that's awesome, Don, that you got this. So go ahead and start putting in your properties in your Wise Agent account, and you'll start and you can use this. This doesn't cost anything for you to have this Signwriter feature. You do have to have texting enabled, but other than that, there is no additional cost for that. And then along with that, we've added to our marketplace. So if you need to order Signwriters, we've added one of our partners and friends from Oakley Signs. You can get that ordered from here as well from the marketplace. So just coming to the marketplace and going to Oakley Signs right here, you can create that Signwriter, and we'll give you a 20% off code as well. Okay. I talk too fast, don't I, Ed? I feel like
I'm used to it. So.
You're used to it. I don't even know how long we've been doing this. A year and a half, Sarah, 2 years, maybe. I think this is our second year, going on to our second year with all of this. And so maybe, I know I do talk a lot. I do talk fast. It's the Chicago in me and the Greek in me that just talks really, really fast. So this is what the digital ads, look like. Let me go back to that, sorry. And so that's in beta testing right now. I think maybe my developers might be working on that. Okay, so anyway, some of the questions that we have is just from our audience here right now. They wanted to know, how do we get the Signwriter set up? So the Signwriter is easy to set up. You do have to have the texting enabled. So in order to get that, just go from integrations down to settings, and you'll go down to where it says Wise SMS here, and that's where, or Wise Texting, I think it says Wise Text. And once you have it here, then all you have to do is just enable the texting from this location here and set up that payment. It's an additional $8 a month. And then you will be able to get the Signwriter option on your property. Okay. I see, Angela, you said you didn't receive a text. So it does, it may take like, a minute or so to come through. Just hang tight on that one. Okay. So Ed, a couple of questions for you on your checklist. Do you use for the listing side, do you create 2 checklists or 1? Someone was asking if, so do you use like one for the listing and then another for the purchase agreement?
I have one for the listing or the buy side, one for the sell side. So each of the entries, you could click not applicable, so you can skip by that. So you can tailor it to what you need. You can do a separate checklist for condo or a single family home, but I haven't done that.
Okay.
I prefer to have one and then just use the blocks that pertain to that particular transaction.
Yeah, and I know, because I know from the listing side, so when you list a property, do you say, okay, well, this is the part I'm listing 123 Main Street, and now, you know, for Bob and Susie, and now John is coming to buy 123 Main Street, you create, and maybe, you know, and maybe he's your client or he isn't your client, but either way, there's a person that's interested now in buying this property, you create another, you have a buyer's checklist from one of your own properties, right?
So in that case, so the listing, so you've got the property under contract. So then once it's under contract, there's things you have to follow. So you can add the cooperating agent, you can add the seller, you can, or the buyer, you can add all those parties that are critical to that transaction. For me, I don't add the seller's name to my transaction. I add the agent, because you're working with the agent, you're not working with their client. So I add the agent, I add the title company on the buy side and sell side, all the players involved. So then you can email them directly from the checklist, and that note stays with that checklist. So all the notes for a particular transaction stay within that checklist.
Okay.
So it just makes it easier for me to track that way.
So you have listing in here and you do everything for the listing. And then once it goes under contract, you say, okay, now it's under contract and do all of these things.
Correct.
Okay. And I think that's a great way of doing it as well. But, and I know in this market, sometimes I've talked to people where they have it in two different places. So they have two different ones. So they have one that's strictly for the listing because they do that one time, but they may have multiple offers on that one property. So then what they do is they create a child of the listing, right? So they have the listing as the parent, and then they have a child attached to it, a child checklist attached to it to say, okay, well, so now Bob put an offer on this, and so did, you know, Susie, and so did Sam, and now you can have all three of those. And so if case one of the first offer falls through, you can go back to the other two because you have all of their documents uploaded, all of the you know, and everything in here, because they might be represented by different agents and whatnot.
I can see where that would be beneficial.
Yeah. So then if something does fall through, then I don't have to start a whole new listing portion it all over again because I already did this part. So that's how some people are doing it. But yes, you can absolutely have them combined. And I see Eileen is saying that she does have it two checklists for a listing one, and then an under contract or UC checklist. So that's because they can have, they definitely have different tasks, but there is a relationship between the two of them. And so that's why we have this parent and checklist up here on the top. So then you can see who that it's attached to, and then easily go to it. And I don't think, oh, and we do have, so there is a checklist, a child checklist to this buyer, right? So then those two are attached to one another from that one seller's, right? So Jennifer Lawrence is the one that is buying this 145 Kilowana loop. Why do you guys give me the most impossible names to read? So I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's how that would work. And that would be something that is easily done within the checklist. Just like Ed said, it's basically on those templates is editing them the way that works for you and your business, and having that. And I think it was nice of you to share that also with other people that are watching this webinar, because then they can go in there and they can say, ooh, I forgot that I actually do this, right?
Be surprised at how many things that are there that you just take for granted and say, okay, yeah, I did do that. Or,
Right.
oh, I forgot that one.
Right, because there's a lot of tasks that you do kind of repeatedly over and over again. And one of the parts of, Wise Agent, what makes having these templates really work really well, one of the things I kind of wanted to show off is that we have this assigned to, right? So you can have tasks assigned to somebody that's in your team. So one of the things that I always tell people when I'm talking about these checklists is, I remember back when I was in high school, our teacher had, it was a writing class, and I remember she had said, write down directions on how do you get from school to your house, give me your directions to get to your house. And she was going to pick random people and see if she got to their house. Well, sometimes when we do that repetitive task over and over and over again, we're going to miss a right turn, or we're going to miss a task that we have to do because we just do it by instinct and naturally. It doesn't occur to us that that's something that we do. But when you create a template like this and you have it written out in details, then what's the nice part is now you could kind of remove yourself from this portion of doing this, right? So if you're like, gosh, I really, don't want to be the one that has to schedule all of the inspections and all of the scheduling of everything that I have to do. I don't want to have to schedule for an appraisal and schedule for a pest inspection. I'd like to have my admin doing that. Well, what you could do is you could take yourself out of that, assign that to somebody else, and now they're, the ones that are assigned to that task, and they're the ones that are responsible for taking care of that. And you've created a process where you could basically replace yourself without having to stop your business. And that's when your business can grow exponentially, because you could grow it to scale now, because it's not just one person being relied to do all these different tasks.
Another benefit of having a checklist and following it is, say you go on vacation, so you're going to be gone for a week or two, and you need someone to take care of your business in your absence. If you have it on a checklist, they'll know, okay, he already did that, or he or she wants me to do this for them when they're gone. Mm-hmm. So it's easier for someone to just come in, plug into your system and follow it. And then when you come back, you take it over.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm such a firm believer. I love checklists. I mean, I am a list person for everything in life. And so I have a list when I go grocery shopping. I've got a list, and I have it, down to science. When you walk in, these are the first things you buy. You walk around the store, right? So I'm like that kind of detail-oriented person. I also have a checklist for everything that I do, even here at work, because I use Wise Agent for my day-to-day thing. And so what I also recommend to people is that if you're doing recruiting, if you are a broker owner and you have certain things that you need to do when you bring people on, or if you're an agent and you're doing a client appreciation party and you do it every quarter, every year, that's something that happens regularly, or even if it's just annually, you can create a checklist on that, even for client appreciation party. You know that you have to send out the invitations at a certain time, maybe like 4 to 6 weeks before the party actually happens. So that would be your important date. Like, when is the party? Your form fields would be maybe like, what type of party it is, and, where the location is of it, or something like that. And then your tasks would be, you have to get the ice and order the cake and do this and do that and invite people. And you can put that in here and just do it in whatever order. And then once you start doing things, and that's when you can start thinking, okay, well, this needs to be done 5 days before I act, 5 days before the party, I need to make sure that someone's getting ice or doing whatever it is. The same thing in real estate. 5 days before the contract is, before the contract is dated, then I need to make sure, after it's been dated, then I need to get this, these documents or these signatures or whatnot. Okay. So yeah.
The beauty of the checklist is they're customizable. So you can make them for anything, just like Eleni's mentioned. You can make it for anything, and you can add and change the names. You can change the name of the template. You can add people. You can make it customizable to where it will work for you for that particular task.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting a ton of questions in here. So I see one of the questions is about the child parent checklist. So the way that that would work, and let me go back to, I believe, this is the parent checklist. So the way that works is you'll see that the parent checklist is listed here, which would be this one. So I can rename this to whatever I want. You can name all your checklists. I think there was also that question in here. You could name your checklist, whatever it is that you see fit. So I personally like having like what the template is, and then the property address for whatever reason. So, but you can name it whatever you want. So this would be the parent checklist. Then the child would be, is how you would attach it here. So you would actually go in here and link it. There would be a drop down where you would be able to select it and link it. And that's how that would work. There would be, kind of like this here, where there's an add to or an assign. And once you click this, then you would assign, oops, not that one, add a parent one. So then you would add the parent checklist, and it would give you a list of your active checklists. So I can come in here and say, this would be the parent to this new checklist that I'm creating. Okay, so hopefully that kind of clears that up. Can you change your checklist name? Absolutely. You can absolutely change your checklist name to whatever you see fit. Can you use this in property management? Absolutely. You can use it in anything. I use it daily. I use it when we hire new employees in here. There's certain things that I need to do. And so I do that. You could also use it in conjunction. This is what I really love. And I think Kendall Young, one of my friends, she has been on our webinar, and what she does in her checklist is she has, okay, well, I need to do this particular task, but then she also says, okay, so I need to get this receipt. And then after the receipt of the HOA things, then I need to send a letter to, to so-and-so requesting for the HOA things. And so she has a link to a letter that would then be used over and over again for the same concept. So every time I need to schedule the appraisal, I could just have a letter here that says, email to appraiser. And then you can have that, being sent out to your appraiser, every appraisal person every single time. So then you don't have to take time to write this letter, this email to request something. And then you just change the address every single time, and then it's done for you. So hopefully that makes sense. Gosh, there's a lot of questions. Do these tasks populate into the calendar, or do I always have to look at the checklist to see? Yeah, they automatically populate into the calendar. So anytime when I go to my calendar here, I'll see if I have them marked as being shown on the calendar, then I'll see them on the calendar here. And if I don't want to see them, they'd be under this hot list, then I could just remove them. So you can see right here this so let's say contract or contract date. If I want to remove that from here, I can. So that's how that would that's how that would work. Okay. The other thing on the home page is you would have also your task list. You can see that they're all attached to, well, not all, but in this particular case, I could see if they're attached to a particular checklist. So I want to see all of my tasks that are needed to be done that are attached to a checklist, then I can see that. So I can see that I need to order the sign for 145 Kahlua Loop, and I can just, get this done and completed. And I can just have that checked off right from here. So I can work from my task list, and then the transactions that I have that are really important that I need to keep my eye on. Like, so Ed, you're closing 3 transactions next week. You probably have those 3 here, right? So these are the ones that you want to keep your eye out on and make sure that everything is being done.
Also, one other thing on the checklist, you can add documents to your checklist as well. So you can add all the purchase agreements. You can add all your documents and have it right there on a checklist. And with the unlimited storage, you've got it there for whenever you need it. Should you need to go back and say someone wants a copy of an appraisal, you have it. You can be
Yeah.
able to forward it to them. Or a
Yeah.
home inspection. You
Yeah.
can add all the documents for that transaction in there, and it's in
Right.
one place.
Right. And so, and sometimes you guys do 250 million tasks, and this list can get long. And so one of the things, because my lists sometimes are long too, we had requested, there was some requests from some of you out there to make it easier to scroll. So you can just click on this little arrow here and it'll collapse this so you can come and see exactly what it is that you need to see. So if you're uploading any documents, you can just click on this and drag and drop those files in here, put in their description, and then upload these in here. We also have integrations with several different form providers, from SkySlope and Form Simplicity, Brokerment, DocuSign, Zip Forms Plus as well. Where is my Zip Forms? Zip Forms Plus as well. So I don't know what happened to that integration here, but that's also another one. And .loop that you can also get start transactions or do the get your forms from there. One of the questions here from Harrison was if I can demonstrate a checklist starting with the seller name and adding it to the checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So if I want to just start a new checklist, there's a couple of ways of doing this. So you can do it right from your contact record. So right from here, I can go to a checklist and I can just click on this green checkbox and say, I'm going to check this off, and they're going to, we'll just say that Michael is, you wanted to do a seller one. So we'll do a seller. He's selling his property. I could choose who this team member is. It already puts Michael Phelps in here since I've started off at his contact record. So it already puts his contact in here. And then I could choose a property. So I'm just going to use an existing one. So we could kind of, and I don't know which one to use. I'll just use this one, Hazel Court. And now this is where I would be able to change this. I could say seller, Phelps, and the address. You guys can change this to whatever it is that you want, however you run your business, like Ed's been saying over and over again. It's so customizable to whatever it is that you want. Okay. And then I just click on create checklist. And then what it'll do is it'll create the checklist based on that template of the seller. And now I can come in here and everything is pretty much blank. So you don't see, it just says like 5 days before the list date, I have to do this task, right? But it doesn't have, let me minimize this chat here. It doesn't have a due date, and it doesn't have a due date right now because I don't have any of my dates set in here yet, right? So when you create your checklist, you have to have certain dates done in here. And so you have the opportunity to add a parent checklist to this. So this could become a child of an existing one. So I can say that this is, Michael is, selling, from another, I can have another one. If this is, this isn't the listing one, this is under contract, then I can have the listing one as the parent. Okay. I can really easily send him an email from here, as well as add notes or add a calendar invite. So maybe I want to have a calendar appointment that goes out to Michael saying, hey, we're going to be doing, staging on this day. So make sure you're out of the house, or whatever it is that I want to do. I can really contact him really easily from here. All right. So once I put in the list date, and I don't know what the date is today. Today's the 9th. So I'm going to say the list date is tomorrow. I'm going to list it. It expires on the 25th. And, we're hoping to go under contract by the 31st. And some of these other ones I'm going to leave blank. So now what happens is, some of these don't really pertain to a listing. So then what happens is you see all my due dates are filled in now here on the side. And so now I can come in here and start checking things off. As I check things off, you see that my tasks completed. I'm getting things done, and it is updating the percentage that has been completed. Now, if there's something that I don't need to do, I can just mark it as NA, and that would be not applicable. If there's a task in here that I'm like, there's a one-off thing that I need to do. Michael Phelps is a VIP, I need to, I don't know, do something, right? So I can say this is do something once. I can type in whatever it is, this one task that I need to do just for this listing or this seller's checklist, and then I can put it in here, and I need to do this by this time, and this is the person that needs to get it done. Now, when someone gets assigned to a task, what happens that if they have their email in the profile section, their email is filled out, Monica will be getting an email saying, Monica, you've been assigned to do something once that's due by February 17th. And she will get that email in her inbox saying that she's been assigned these tasks. The same with Phoebe and Rachel here. These have been assigned, these are tasks assigned to them. They will get an email saying you have, to get this listing agreement done by the 7th of February. So you need to get this done for then. So that's how that would all work. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, Ed?
It does.
Okay, awesome. And then your important contacts, this is where you would say, okay, well, this is a seller's checklist. So do I have the buyer's information in here? Maybe I do, or maybe I don't. Do I have the cooperating agent? As soon as I am, putting in the cooperating agent, on the checklist, it's on the template itself is where you would put what category you're going to be searching from. So let me go to the template to show you guys what that means. And hopefully you guys understand this, but when you're creating the template, there's a group of contacts that you can add to this. And I'm saying the cooperating agent is going to be coming from my vendor list with the group called cooperating agent. I could change that to contacts, and I could say, these are just going to be, let me see if I have one called agents. I could say these are all, so it's coming from the category called agents in my contact list. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so once I save that, now when I go to that checklist, I'll have to refresh it. I have to refresh this because I have too many screens open and I don't know where it went. Here it is. Once I go to this checklist now, and I'm going to add who that agent is, it's going to give me a list of agents that's based in that category. So I can't
or the vendor type if you choose.
Or the vendor type, right. Right. So I can come in here and say, okay, Allison is a contact in my agents group. So that's who is going to be the agent. Okay, the same for inspector and appraisal and everywhere else. So that's how that would work.
And you can add other fields in there.
Yes, you can. You can. And then you can have your transaction notes. So you could come in here and say, oh boy, this was really hard working with this seller, or, whatever it is, whatever notes you guys put in here, you can put in your notes, and those get tagged appropriately as well. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. And so I see a lot of questions in here. Sarah, thank you for replying to all of these. And Regina, I'm going to read out loud what Regina wrote. She said, I've been sleeping on Wise Agent, but I'm woke now. So thank you. So thanks, Regina. We see you and we appreciate you, being on this webinar and learning. So, so that's something that, that's why we do this webinar. It's all about that education and making sure that everyone's learning something from what we're saying here. All right. Ed, any final things that you wanted to share with everyone?
I do actually. So yeah. Whenever you have a question about Wise Agent, go to their Facebook page and post a question there. You'll be surprised at the responses you get, because Sarah is on there religiously, of course. And there's other group members or other members of the community will chime in and help you when you need it. use it. It's a good resource.
Absolutely. And our support, and so that is a good resource for sharing and connecting with one another and sharing how best practices. But also our support is available to you 24/7. So if you're not seeing an answer from in there, we do reply to all our emails within 10-minute turnaround and answer our phones. So go ahead and either call us or email us and use our help and our knowledge base for any of the support needs. But yeah, our Facebook community has been a great community to really help one another out. I jump in there occasionally and read comments and things and try and connect people as that needs to happen as well. So definitely stay on top of that and connect with one another there. And I see Sarah is posting our contact information and the fact that we do post like our quick tips, and we also post any new releases go in the community before they go onto the page. All right. Well, Ed, I appreciate you being on here today and sharing your knowledge with all of us.
It's my pleasure. I'm honored to be part of this. So if I can help anybody, please reach out. I'm sincere about that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Tamara, if you're still on, thank you for starting this trend of sharing. It's always great seeing that continue on. So next week on the 16th, I believe that's a Wednesday, I'm going to be joined on the webinar here with Eric Arnold from ExpressDocs, and we're going to be talking all about our integration with ExpressDocs and ordering postcards, and talking about marketing and best marketing practices. Julie, yes, we are recording this, and we will send you an email with the recording on there, so everyone will get that. So be looking out in your inbox for that. So next week, Wednesday, I'll be talking to Eric Arnold from ExpressDocs. I'm looking forward to that one as well. And hopefully, Ed, I see you on the webinar as well next week.
I will be there. I will be there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. I'll see you all next week. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.